Are you ready?
Shane, you should sit. No, maybe not if you're asking a question.
What happened?
Or should he sit there or in a chair? Maybe he sits in a chair.
Maybe. No. You want me in the chair?
What?
You prefer me in the chair?
I guess this will be fine. We look
Don't
at
hurt his
you.
feelings.
I don't know. You look
He's
wherever you want.
fragile.
Because if you're in the chair, then we'd look here.
Well, just look at the camera and say hi to your friends on Facebook Live. Hi, guys.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Shane is sensitive.
Yeah, I'm not sensitive. That's rude. So over here with who are you guys?
Danielle and Jen.
No,
Danielle.
Danielle and Jen from the Joe Oz Real Estate Group here in beautiful Asbury Park.
That's right.
So we were just kind of, who's this? Patricia something says hi. Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
So we were just kind of hanging around and chatting. Jen just got back from a listing appointment. I know they got a couple more appointments scheduled today and next week, and we were just kind of chatting about some things to do to your house prior to putting your house on the market, as well as why it might not be such a bad idea to kind of get your home listed prior to the spring market, when kind of the everyone throws their house on the market, everything's for sale, and we're ready to go. So kind of just yapping with you guys, the seasoned pros here, about what's going on out there, what's good, what's hip, what's hot, what's fresh.
Thanks, Regis.
The market is starting to pick up. We've been seeing a surge in buyers coming out, and definitely sellers who are interested in finding out what their value is. So now it's definitely a good time, if you're thinking about making a move this year, to start thinking about what things you should do to get the most amount of value.
Yeah, it's a supply and demand situation. So the inventory is very low, and there's an abundance of buyers. So you're going to get the most money for your house now while there's less competition.
So I think that's what we're kind of seeing a lot of on our end from the mortgage side, is a lot of people are pre-approved, right? There's a lot of, especially in that kind of like first-time home buyer market, or that those kind of middle price points. Your 300, 400,000. Seems like everyone can buy. Everyone's ready to buy, and there's really just not a lot in that price range. You have some lower end stuff where some people kind of have fallen on hard times or whatever, and they're just trying to dump their house or whatever, and then you have like some higher end stuff that's just kind of like sitting around because those people aren't necessarily buying as much right now. But really, that kind of like first time home buyer market is just like hot. A lot of people have jobs, they're making good money, they're pre-approved, they're out there, they're looking, they're ready to buy something, and you still have some people that have kind of been waiting it out, they're waiting for their property values to come back.
Yeah, you definitely still have a lot of those people who bought in the height and are waiting for their equity to get there, and you're starting to see a lot of people now finally.
Right, because it's kind of getting back. It's kind of balanced out where it was kind of like down, up, and then kind of now it's. I feel like over the past year or so, everything's kind of balanced out where people are where they need to be in order to sell. So what are you seeing out there? What are people doing with their houses to try to get a couple more bucks? I mean, is there anything you guys are out looking and seeing what's there? What's good? Should I put a skylight in, or what do the kids do these days? Solar panels? Danielle hates solar panels.
Don't do solar
No solar panels.
Danielle hates the environment.
If you could afford to own it outright, I think that would be a great investment, especially if you plan on being there long term. But short term, to rent it, lease it, I don't know.
Rent the solar panels? Don't rent solar panels.
Yeah.
Just don't get them.
My buddy works for a solar company. He told me that he has a warehouse with some solar panels, the old solar panels, off of someone else's house that he'll put on my house real cheap. Do I do that? If I own the solar panel, it's okay.
I think it's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Better.
Danielle hates all the solar panels. So no solar panels. What are some other things that I should not do? Or there's just not a
If you're
return?
planning on selling, no crazy improvements. Don't over-improve your kitchen. Don't over-improve bathrooms. Don't complicate it. Just make it presentable. Presentation is key.
So don't blow out all my walls.
No.
Fresh coat paint.
Oh my God, goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were just saying even before. When when me and my wife bought our house, it was kind of, that was the thing. It was like she looked at it, oh, this house is ugly. It's poop brown walls and this shag carpet. The reality was everything else had been done, right? The windows were done, the roof was done, the new septic and all this stuff. And it's like, we moved in, ripped that carpet out, redid the floors, threw, white paint on everything because my wife loves white. I don't know if it's white. I don't know
white
color.
too.
Yeah, said it looks clean.
Yeah.
And dark floors, and then it looks clean as she tells me. Hey, that's not my job.
Happy
Good.
wife.
But yeah, happy life.
Yeah.
That's what I go for. But yeah, that's the thing. It makes the house look completely different. And to be honest, if the person who we bought our house from had put that couple $1,000 in, it probably would have sold for a lot more.
Because presentation, because buyers are shopping online, they're looking at the photos. If it doesn't photograph well, you're not going to get the most interest.
Yes, you see those floors; they look good. You see the paint on the walls; it looks presentable. It doesn't look like something out of the '70s.
Because you start to think when you see homes with the old carpet and paneled walls or wallpaper, you're like, do they not take care of the rest? I don't know. For some reason, I think subconsciously you think maybe they didn't update their.
Right? Why would they do why? How do they live like this?
Yes.
They obviously don't care.
Yeah, but that's not true. Like you said, some people.
Right, yeah, some people do.
Just updated cosmetically.
And some people are just old, and that they like that.
Yeah, that's their style.
They just like it. They like keeping alive in the '70s. They have disco parties in the basement. I don't know. Hey, who am I to judge? But yeah, I do think that that's not really what people are looking for now. So if you do kind of spend a couple bucks and get that that going, it definitely helps you out.
Yeah, floors, painting. Mm-hmm. Oh my God,
clean looking,
declutter.
Yeah, room by room. I would recommend going, room by room and try to declutter each room.
And I think that's especially what a lot of people forget about especially when you're living in the house while you're selling it. It's not like you've moved out and it's sitting there. People are going to come into your house, right? So, and some people have different tastes, so something that you really love, might turn people off when they walk into the house, and I think that's where having experienced agents and having you guys there to kind of say, and I think it's important even from the consumer standpoint to say, that's what an agent is doing for you, right? They're not just taking your house and putting it in a magazine or putting it on a website and showing it to people.
Yeah,
the reality is they're giving you the advice saying, hey, that's like a pretty strange doll collection you have, but it's cool. You know what I mean? But we're gonna have some people maybe sauce it up a little bit, like, oh, you wouldn't want anyone to steal those. Maybe we put them in the basement or attic or something. Because that's reality. Everyone has that impression when you walk into something, when you walk in someplace, it gives you a feeling, right? You have an emotional feeling about how that makes you feel when you walk in, and you kind of want to keep that, I guess, kind of neutral as possible.
Totally.
To kind
and
of
with less stuff you do.
Right, yeah. The more things you have, the more there is to go the wrong way, Maybe you get another, creepy doll person and they love it. Yeah, they're like, wow!
That's right.
But I guess it's few and far between, Or like, if you're hoarding animals or something, maybe, let it air out a little bit, let it breathe.
Animal smells.
Let it breathe. Yeah.
And it's hard because you don't want to mask it with just like deodorizers or stuff, because then you could tell. Then you're like,
right. Why does this house smell like Febreze?
Yeah, something's wrong.
Smells like when my friend puked in my car.
Get rid of carpet if you can, and you have hardwood. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I think that's one of the, and it's funny when you look at even just trends, right? Like there's some things, that were very common at a certain time. At a time, everyone wanted carpet, right? Oh, don't ruin the floors are ugly. Wood's ugly. Now everyone's like, carpet.
Yeah.
What is this? They don't want to see the carpet. Now everyone wants wood back.
Yeah.
And years ago people wanted the hardwood. Then and what's funny now is like when you look at some house. We went to an open house over the weekend, and the house was all carpet. And it was built in must have been built. I remember them going up. Must have been built in like the '90s, and everything was carpet. So the house doesn't even have hardwood.
Yeah.
There is no hardwood. You have to lay the hardwood.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, our house when we bought it was built in the '50s. The hardwood was never finished, right? But it was just sitting there under a carpet because that's what you did. You just threw a carpet over it. Like who wanted to see the wood floors? And now it's what everyone wants, which is kind of funny. Now houses, so that's something to keep in mind as well. And even if you are looking to buy a house and figuring, like I did, like, okay, like let's try to see if we can get a little better price, but when the guy doesn't want to do the work to do the floors, well, make sure the floors are there underneath there, that it's not that you're not taking on a huge investment, or you're looking to sell your house. Don't redo your floor. Don't pull the carpet up and lay hardwood and spend all this money. Because you don't know. Maybe the person buying does want carpet,
or maybe their taste in hardwood's different. So you
different colors.
It's expensive, and you wouldn't want to put that investment in for somebody to be like, I want a different stain or different plank or whatever.
I think that goes in even like you were saying with like the kitchens and stuff. People are particular.
Cabinet color.
Yeah, some people.
Dark,
some people like the like cabinets. Some people like dark cabinets.
Yes.
Some people like lighter countertops, the floors and stuff. So, I feel like when a lot of times people put this in, and I think a lot of times from the sell side too, just from talking with you guys and with other agents and just kind of friends that have bought and sold houses, it's like people tend to want their return immediately on something they did. Like I remember I was talking to a listing agent once. We go out on Lake Pacon a lot up in North Jersey. There's this big beautiful house, right? Guy has an infinity pool. And it, kind of flows over and overlooks the lake, and he gets like these palm trees imported from somewhere. Awesome house, right? But when they went on the listing appointment, they're talking to him, and he was like, and they're giving him a price, and he wanted a lot more. And he said, well, you don't understand. When I put this pool in, I had to do it, and then I had to redo the whole thing because it wasn't done right the first time, and it cost me an additional $100,000. And I'm sorry, guy, but the person buying your house isn't like, oh, well, this guy screwed up when he put the pool in the first time, so let me offset that cost by when I sell it. Just you're not going to get that return back. So God forbid, or those same thing with like the kitchen, like maybe those cabinets that you thought were beautiful and you put in your custom cabinets, they're going to come in and rip them out anyway because it's not their taste and it's not their style. So really, you think you're going to get that return and it's going to be a huge selling point, but it's not because at least paint, if the paint looks good and it's clean, they might paint over it anyway, but at least it shows well. At least they know what they're getting into. It's not, kind of
overwhelming.
Yeah. You're not getting that kind of like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, if you do have any like neutral colors, definitely. Is that what you tell them to like their paint?
You should be a realtor.
Yeah. So you can tell them,
I'd be like, walls, creepy doll heads, gotta go. You gotta get these out. You're a creep, all right. Your dog peed down here. No Febreze. Rip the carpets, do the floors, no, I'm not. That's why I leave that to you guys. You guys are the professionals. But so besides that, what paint, floors. Get rid of the deep, creepy doll head / declutter.
Yes. And cleaning.
Sometimes you'll look in the corners and there's like cobwebs, and you just want to be clean. Don't feel insane like you're still living there, but just don't be gross.
Yeah. And I think what's funny, like a deep clean.
Yeah. The way you live in your house and the way you sell your house, I feel like are two different.
Yeah.
You have to show your house. You have to make it showcase model ready.
Yeah, and you have to realize like these people when they're going through your house and your house is being shown and whatnot, like people are going through and looking. They're not just, hey, Gary. What's going on, Gary? You guys can't see Gary, but he's over here. Hey, Gary, come over here for a minute. Come on, you're looking sharp today. You're dressed up and everything. Look at this guy wearing a blazer and everything. Wow.
What's going on?
Look, I got this fancy camera. Watch this.
How do I know if I'm in it or not?
Watch this. I can zoom in right on your face. Isn't that cool? Look, now it's just you.
Go get Ozzy.
And then we can zoom back out.
Where's Ozzy?
He's over there.
He's in the window.
So that's that decluttering, getting everything out. Where were we before Gary so rudely interrupted us? Oh, cleaning. Yeah.
Just clean your house.
Yeah, and like really clean it.
Yeah.
Like because people are gonna look. They're gonna go into places where you haven't been in a while. Yeah. Go in the shower, like even like in closets or like in crawl spaces, right? Where like you don't really get going around too much.
The steps going down to your basement, just little things. Yeah.
You want to clean.
Yeah.
That's good. Good advice. Clean.
Mm-hmm.
Clean, paint, little things like, doing the floors, pulling your carpets out.
I mean, and even if you couldn't afford to do the hardwood, just maybe even shampooing your carpet.
Shampooing the carpets.
Yeah.
I love a nice, what's funny too? Like a nice shampooed carpet when you shampoo the carpets and you're walking around with your bare tootsies, it just feels so good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels nice.
And then, and the reality is, you know, my wife laughs at me because I actually enjoy shampooing carpets. Like,
Yeah.
I love it. You know why? Because
The dog pees on the carpet.
no, well that does sometimes happen, I'll admit. But I don't have any carpets now in our house, but like just in the past, like my grandma wanted her carpets done, my mom, whatever. Because when you see how dirty that water is, it makes you realize that you're walking around on this every day.
I know.
And it's not just, you know, because you're a dirty person. That's the reality. It's the floor,
the feet,
right? Just everything.
Yeah,
Oh,
Look who's here.
Ozzy.
Hi, Ozzy.
Look, we can zoom in on his right on his sunshades. This thing's cool. Is like we play with this camera and we can just kind of zoom around and do this. Danielle likes being Ozzy because then she doesn't have to talk.
Ozzy
But you know-
is his own self.
Ozzy's his own
He's
self.
sitting on my lap right
There he is. He's a nice guy. Ozzy's over here. He's like, see the O and the O up here. The O, the O.
Yesterday they might be out.
Put some shades. I told Mike to dress up like Ozzy, but he wasn't feeling it. I don't know. So what about outside the house? Like especially if you know.
Well, right now it's the winter, so it's hard. But as we get into the spring, definitely maintenance, yard,
Clean up.
Cleaning up.
Yeah, just make sure the curb appeal's there.
Mhm.
You don't have to go crazy expensive, but just when you drive up to your house, just pretend you're a buyer. Pretend in the eyes of a buyer what could make little.
Yeah, I mean that's really like you said.
Your
I mean,
mailbox.
even before they see the creepy
Yeah.
doll heads,
Yeah.
they're seeing the the front of your house. Or what a lot of people are doing is that's kind of really even before they're looking online and looking at pictures of the interior, they're just driving by.
Totally.
You know, like I know. You know, when we were buying our house, my agent would say like, "Oh, hey, you know, here, you know, we had an appointment for Saturday or whatever. We're going to go look at X, Y, and Z." Most of those houses, if they were close to where I was going anyway, I was swinging by and I was driving by and I was being like, you know,
This one looks
like
sketchy.
there was creepy doll heads in the window.
Yeah.
You know, like
Cancel that appointment.
you know. But yeah, it is. It's kind of that first impression that people are going to get when
Yeah,
they,
like
when
you
they
have to
pull
paint
up.
the front door, maybe touch up paint for the front door, mailbox.
And people are
just
funny, like we were saying before. Like it's an emotional process, right? Like buying a house is, and I mean that's that's why when you get a real I'm not a therapist. You know what I mean? I couldn't do it. That's why you guys are great, and it's important for people to realize what an agent actually does, and the fact that there's a lot of crap out there. There's a lot of agents that aren't necessarily up to par, and it does matter who you work with. It's not
Totally.
a matter of numbers or dollars and cents necessarily. I mean, it comes down to dollars and cents. It's your biggest investment. You want to get the most for your home, but sometimes you're going to get the most for your home by making these changes and listening to a seasoned agent who's going to get you that, right? The agent that comes in and says, yeah, I'll list it, don't worry about the creepy doll heads, you know what I mean, is probably not looking out for your best interest,
Totally.
and you're not going to get that, the most
They're
money for
hurting
your house.
their pocket, yeah.
Yeah, because, they're not giving you these tips and advice, and they're not helping you along, and that's really...
Yeah, for us, we'd rather see an owner take some time to get the home presentable. We're not going to, put it on right away if we don't feel like it's ready.
Right,
So
yeah.
we'd rather them take the time, get things in order, and then when we put it on, it's going to be amazing. Like Danielle just listed the house in Red Bank. Like, oh my gosh, so many showings, and the house is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of like a consultation type
Yeah.
thing, and I think that's the
They
thing
presented it awesome.
with you
Yeah.
guys and what you guys offer is that those free consultations where you kind of go by someone's house, not sitting down and trying to sell it, but more so sitting down and saying like, hey, if you're thinking about selling your home in the next year or so, here's a couple things that pointing out like of things that
Yeah, we just did
you
that
might
this
wanna
morning.
do.
We
Or-
went through a punch list with her, like a closet door, a shower curtain, just little things, and she's going to get those items ready, and we're going to list in April. But those little things will make a big impact.
Yeah, and you guys know because you're out there in the field every day going into people's homes. You know what people are doing.
Yeah.
So if you're like looking at a house and you've been in a couple other houses in the area, you'd be like, look, like I've been in 4 other homes on your block that all have done this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that happens a lot, right? It's like
Definitely.
someone does something on the block and then everyone does it. And if you're the only house that hasn't done that, but then you still feel like you're going to get but then the house across the street that has done it sells, you're like, oh, well, we have the same house. It's like, yeah, you had the same house when it was built.
Yeah.
But everyone did whatever that
Certain
might be,
improvements,
right?
yes, yeah.
And maybe you should too prior to doing that. So that's cool. That's like super helpful for people looking to sell their home and getting it ready. And reach out to these girls over here if you're interested in having someone come by and just look around, right? Just look around, give you some ideas on if you're thinking about selling, what to do. And I did want to kind of touch on a little bit as well. We were talking about before of getting everyone, especially here in New Jersey, it's the spring market, right? Everyone says, "Oh, the spring," and I feel like the past couple years it hasn't really been the case as much. There's kind of been because of the fact that there's so many people that are looking to buy a home, that are looking year round, right? The spring used to be,
up, so
rent's going up. People are trying to get out, and
Yeah.
people have money, like they're ready to buy, and the inventory's not there because everyone's holding out till spring, and it feels like that people are only, that the spring everyone wants change, and like it's like this.
Yes,
we have this beautiful thing in our head that like maybe in 1950s was very common, but now like people are ready to buy,
Buyers
and
are out there in the snow.
yeah, wandering around, like
Yeah.
going to open houses, down icy driveways, like
Yeah.
it's crazy, and that's the thing. So a lot of people, you have them saying, "Oh, I'm going to hold out for the spring," because they feel like that's when
The golden time.
the best time to list is. What are some things? What are some challenges? Or I guess, what are some benefits to listing in the spring, first off? And then what are kind of some challenges when springtime rolls around? And why might it not be a bad idea to, start getting things ready sooner rather than later to kind of get your house on the market prior to kind of that rush?
I'd say a benefit would be you don't have to move in the winter. That's
Yeah, that's true.
it's warmer. Maybe, I don't know. If you're lucky.
Yeah, but if you want to sell, inventory's low, so it's good because there's less competition right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, so if you have something that people, like the buyers are out there, right, and there's that lack of
Like if you have a
inventory.
certain neighborhood, maybe right now in that neighborhood that you really want to be in, there might only be 2 or 3 homes to choose from. If
Right,
you wait till April or May to list your house, guess what? There might be 12.
right.
Yeah.
And if yours isn't,
As presentable,
as presentable or
yeah,
priced as
priced
aggressively, you might have someone else on your block that's sitting waiting for the spring market because they're saying, like, I know there's going to be a rush, but they got to go, right? And,
Yeah.
and they don't really care. They've already, because they're buying something else in the spring, right? So they got to go. They're going to price their house more aggressively, and therefore bring you're going to have to come down if you want to move your house, and you're not going to have that option. Whereas now, I feel like, like we talk about all the time, right now, if you're in that price range and your house is priced right, and take that into consideration too when you're meeting with agents and looking to list your home. I think that's what a lot of people, it's like getting back to, paying for, your past mistakes or whatever. There's also no value to memories, and I think that's like a lot of people think, especially if they've lived in their home a long time, that they feel like there's a certain value that they put on the fact that their kids grew up there, or they saw their grandson walk, or like all these things, and that's awesome. You know what I mean? That's great that you had those memories. But the reality is the person buying your house is not buying it because it's where your aunt gave birth on the kitchen floor that Christmas Eve.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to them.
It doesn't matter. That's a beautiful memory.
Maybe that
I don't know. That could be a little creepy. That might be even worse than the doll heads. But but that's the reality, right? So like I think that's what you get. You guys know what is appropriate, right? And what that price point is. And as a seller, you might not always agree, but that's kind of the tactic of saying, hey, this is what I think it would be worth. And look at it and give that reasonable estimate.
And it changes. I mean, it changes even month to month what home values are. So
absolutely.
who knows? If you did wait until April or May when there's more competition, maybe the value may decrease a little bit. Who knows? So it's probably better to get it on now while there's less competition and there's serious buyers out there. We see it. We have 20 showings on a new listing we just put up. The people are out there. Buyers are out there.
And that's the thing. There's going to be and the reality is one of those people buys the house, and then there's still 19 floating around looking for the same thing. So that's what, like, I think a lot of people are, kind of saying, oh, like I'll wait or I'll do that, and it's like the time is now. Like the buyers are there.
Move, if you're in your mind, you're like, but I don't want to move for another 4 months. we can work that out. We can find the right buyer to give you a little time if that's what you need.
And if you are doing, if you are upgrading your home, you're buying a bigger property or something, you might get, or even if you're downgrading, right, you might be able to find a better deal out there in that price point, right? So like you might be able to negotiate a better deal. So even if you're thinking, oh well, I could get, maybe I might get an extra 10 grand for my house in a couple months. Well, so will wherever you're going.
Yeah.
So that's it's kind of like when I always compare like when we bought our house. We went under contract in November. So we got a good price on our house. Nobody was buying a house in November. And we ended up closing December 30th, and then by that spring, the values went up. And my wife's coming home. Oh, like the house that's the exact same down the street is selling for $50,000 more than we bought our house for. Like we should sell our house. And
it's like, where are we gonna go?
Where are we gonna go? Exactly.
Yeah.
Like so, you're saying like, we could sell it for more money than we paid.
But
then we're gonna buy something that's also at a higher price. So it's not really. Nobody's really winning in that situation. Or we're just going to buy the exact same house for more money. Like it doesn't, work.
For what?
So like, whereas if you're in that point now, it might be easier to get into something else. So most people, aren't just selling their house just to sell. Usually they got to buy something too, right?
Yeah, they have to live somewhere.
Got to find a house. Well, that's not everyone wants to be under a bridge.
Or living with their parents.
Oh God, please no. No.
But now's a good time too, I think, even if you're a buyer. Like,
yeah.
I know inventory is a little limited, but the rates are great.
Rates are good, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what happens if the rates change? Then
and I think what happens, what we saw, or I kind of compare this year to last year in that like we had relatively mild winters, right? So even though we got a little snow and it got a little cold, like remember years ago when there used to actually be winter?
Yeah.
Like it was like it would snow a lot and like normal, and you'd still only get 90 minutes away from school. What the hell are you doing over there, Gary? Making noises. Cool. So, scratching records. But that's the thing, right? In that, oh yeah, that's what happens. Forgot. So like last year, what I saw a lot of was like because there are so many buyers, right? Pre-approved buyers. So someone gets pre-approved in January, right? And they're pre-approved to $350,000, and they start looking at houses, but they're nervous, right? They don't want to pull the trigger. They see houses that they love, and
but they're not sure.
Yeah, they're not sure. They're because the inventory is low, right?
Yeah.
So they're not. So they don't have a lot to choose from, but they're looking at houses and they're like scared to pull the trigger. They're not sure what they want to do, and they're looking in there, And then spring rolls around, inventory's up. But so do those prices go up. So now those houses, they were looking at, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $350,000. Now in their mind, that's what they want. Oh, well, I was looking at 3-bedroom, 2-baths at $350,000, but that doesn't exist in the spring.
Yeah.
Like spring market comes around, that price goes up. They're now priced out of what they wanted, and now they have that expectation in their head of what they want.
What they saw a couple of months ago.
Right,
but they can't find it again.
And that doesn't exist anymore. And I think that's what. Even from the buy side too, what people need to also be thinking about. What's up, buddy? Oh, so need to be thinking about that as well. If you are a buyer out there and you're pre-approved and you see something that you like, jump on it.
Yeah.
Buy the house because you're waiting to see more and more and more. And when you're seeing more and more, those prices are going to go up and up.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get the same thing for that price point. Yeah, that's the thing. Even a small influx in rate. If you're maxed out, if you're right where if you're right on the cusp there, where you're right at where your comfort level is, and rates come up a quarter point.
Make a difference.
Yeah, it's going to be a couple $100, and that might be the difference to you. Generally, people are moving. I don't see a lot of people that don't move because of that rate. I spend $100 a month probably on espressos at Starbucks, so I guess I'd have to make them at home if I had bought a house and now I do it at home. But that's the thing, right? In that like they're looking for like that unicorn then when spring rolls around and they're running around and then another year goes by, right? Because now it's like summer and then it's like so I mean even now I feel like I'm working with a lot of buyers who
Waited.
started looking this time last year or over the fall, you know, and they kind of
Yeah.
and then they kind of like price went up and they're like, oh, you know, and then summer comes around, they go on vacation, they do this, they do that, blah, blah, blah. Go here,
So
there,
that's my advice to those type of buyers is something that maybe they haven't considered, like a renovation loan.
yeah, renos.
Yeah, to maybe buy a home a little bit below your budget and then you can customize it.
Yeah, renos are cool, you know, especially like, you know, with the Streamline Reno products and things like that, 203K Streamlines that allow you, you know, to do kind of basic cosmetic repairs. And
Yeah.
that's where even getting into when we're talking about, you know, not redoing your kitchen if you're thinking about selling, because there are a lot of those loan products out there that a lot of people are using. So if I'm looking at a house, and that's the thing, we do more, the 203K Streamline is honestly a really cool product in that it's not a full reno, right? It's not like I'm knocking the house down and rebuilding. I'm not reinventing the wheel in a foundation, you know, there's some cool things like that. But yeah, the Streamline's good. I think it's somewhere in, you know, mid to high 20s. You know, don't quote me. Somewhere around there. Is that what it is? 35?
Am I right? Streamline it to 55?
I was close.
What's the budget? And how much can you go up to on Streamline?
Not sure. I'll check the.
Yeah.
We'll have to check the facts.
35, I think it's, yeah, that sounds somewhere around there. Somewhere around 30,000.
Is that if you just want to do cosmetics, you're saying? You could use that Streamline?
Yeah, you
So
can.
you don't have to, like, it just be, like, somebody could use that to be like, I want to change it to hardwood.
You know what the
Carpet,
cool
I wanna
thing with the
do-
Streamline is that, you know,
Streamline good for like an uninhabitable house. Like a house that needs like
and you got to do little things to get it to go in.
Okay.
And you don't have to go through all the hoops that you would have to go through with like a full 203K, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm doing a regular 203K, I gotta have the the contractor come in, I gotta have all this paperwork done, and I got and basically everything's in like a draw, right? So a little work gets done, they get some money. A little work gets done, they get some money. A little work gets done, and it's just, I mean, it's a great product as well for people if they want to do something big, but the Streamline kind of cuts that all out, puts it all in one loan. It's just like
Makes it easier.
and it's based on more on that after appraised value. But it's really, for those small upgrades, right? Redo a bathroom, redo a kitchen. If you have something like Gary's saying, like an uninhabitable,
Like a roof leak, I guess.
right? You need for the CO, you need to get something done.
I guess
right?
bank loans. There's a lot of bank loans we've been seeing.
Yeah, and it's great
They're
for,
like almost nice.
right. You got to just put that money in, whereas people aren't going to put.
Almost a good house.
People aren't going to put that money in up front if they don't think that they can live there. You know what I mean? But if they,
especially if the appraiser comes by and is like, "Hey, there's no water.
Yeah.
The pipes are gone."
yeah, you need pipes.
Yeah.
You know, that's the problem. That they used to use those copper pipes. Now people, before they get foreclosed on, they're just taking the pipes with them.
I know.
No, not only are you going to stop paying your mortgage, but you're going to take the pipes.
Yeah.
You know?
I know a lot of the bank loans.
And they leave the garbage.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
You leave the garbage and you take the pipes. What kind of world is
It's not
this?
fair.
But yeah, that's there's some good things out there. But and that's the thing, we do have a lot of pre-approved buyers that are using those things like the 203K Streamline. So if you were to spend the money on redoing your kitchen, and then those people are just going to take that money to tear out the kitchen you just spent,
I know.
it doesn't carry over. So that's
You're not going to get that investment back.
yeah, and it's just going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
That's sad. So what you have your little seller's guide here, right? Was that where we were talking about the seller's guide? Are you going to present the seller's guide to people?
Yeah, do you want to go right there?
Danielle?
Me?
Yeah, come on, Danielle. You want us to zoom in on you?
No.
I'm going to anyway. Oh, we'll zoom in on the seller's
Like
guide.
QVC.
Yeah. Hello.
This is free.
This seller's
now,
guide.
yeah.
This
No, we do
seller's
want a
guide.
copy,
Brought
though.
to you.
It is free.
Yeah.
This is a magazine we created. This is us.
So what do we have in there? Okay, we got a team photo, and what else we got in there? Some testimonials.
Yep.
All right.
Here's a garden feature.
Look at that. We don't have to go page by page, Okay, we'll go page by page.
Shane and I have a rocky background.
It started rough, but we're working out our
Me
differences.
with blonde hair.
Oh,
Okay, look at that. Okay, back when Danielle was a blonde.
that's funny.
I don't
Thank
know.
you. Meet the team. Little info.
Alright,
Yes.
the pages are stuck. I mean, it's just a, things, a little information on selling.
Setting a
home.
price, little
What's
kind
an appraisal? What's a home inspection?
cool, yeah. Kind of like a little bit about what we've been talking about today, different things that you can do.
What you can do
And
to get
kind
your
of-
home ready, prepare a sheet from the company you use to take
Mhm.
photos.
Oh,
What else?
yeah, you guys take dope photos.
Yeah, our photos are awesome.
Dope, yeah.
We have a good hookup.
That's true.
We also have
Different ways to
Helps
kind of
with
market
marketing.
properties.
Yeah. Obviously, we advertise on all the big websites.
the whole deal. You know, like A to
The
Z.
process.
The whole deal, A to
The whole
Z.
deal.
That's good.
We have vendors in here too. I'm trying to find.
You guys do a good job with putting your properties out there, and I think that's what another thing that even when people are going to list their house, yeah, and like kind of when selling your house is a big deal,
Oh my God, yes.
right?
It's a big decision.
It's like it's probably your biggest investment that you've ever made. And the same thing, you have those memories.
Yeah.
It's emotional,
Yeah.
right? And the truth of the matter is, and I'll say it because I'm not a real estate agent, it'd be maybe frowned upon for you guys to say it, but there's a lot of shit in the industry, right? Like, I work with a lot of agents, and I work with a lot of great agents, and I meet a lot of agents, and the reality is a lot of this, these flip this house and millionaire real estate agent, or, whatever these shows are entertainment, right? They're great. They're fun to watch. Like, they're cool. I'll admit, I watch these shows sometimes, and it's nice and it's fun to watch. But I don't immediately think that like I'm a real estate investor or I should go get a real estate license because I watched someone
Or that
sell
you can understand the
a
local market.
right. Like, I watched someone sell a $1 billion
House in
unit
California.
in California, and now like, oh, I can let me, where the $1 billion houses at? Let me just go buy it. I'm going to sell one of those. They see like, oh, the $180,000 commission. Oh yeah, I can do that. I don't have to work for a year. And the reality is, and even I just for an example, I used on one of those. I was, a friend was saying like, oh yeah, I'm going to get a real estate license because they sold this house and the commission was 100 and some odd thousand or whatever. And I said, but did you see that like he held an open house at that house that cost $60,000? The open house costs $60,000. So, and that's just the open house, let alone like all the marketing and other things that go on top of that. And I think that's what agents don't realize when they get into
The work that
business.
goes behind it. Oh my gosh.
What goes into that?
Yeah.
See you, Gary.
We put money into our listings, sure, and we don't get paid till closing, but we believe in our clients and our products, so money does go into marketing a home property.
And it really is. It's kind of going through that whole process, right? So it's starting with that consultation.
Yeah.
Hey, Jen. Hey, Danielle. Come by my house. Tell me what to do. Throw out the doll heads. Paint the walls. Get rid of the carpets. Maybe don't worry about the kitchen. Don't worry about the bathroom. Clean.
Yes, clean.
Clean.
The cobwebs. Yes.
Clean. Get rid of the cobwebs.
Yes.
Right?
Stop the cobweb.
So that's good. You give me, and that's the reality is like looking at it as a process. Not waking up one day and saying, what?
You're not in the picture.
Oh, I'm zooming in on Danielle still. That's all right. They're
The people love
yeah,
you.
they probably wanted to see me. I like to work the camera. I always forget with this thing. It's tricky, But that's the thing. It's a process, right? I'm not waking up one day and saying, "Hey, time to sell a house." Let's throw it
and
on
it
the market.
definitely is understanding the local market. Like we, our teams and all of us do a lot of business in the area, so we all understand the nuances. There's certain things with each town, a neighborhood, a town, a location. That's so important, and if you don't understand it, you can miscalculate, and that's somebody's like
Right? Yeah, that's important. I think that's what I always, with you guys, you always really do focus on your area where you cover, and when something's outside of that wheelhouse, you're referring it out to someone that who's an expert in that area,
We'll be honest,
rather than saying, let me take it because it's a listing. I can list it, and it's not really in the best interest because you don't know the area. You know what I mean? You're just arbitrarily going to make up a number based on a different market, and that might not be the case. So you guys look at that as realistically saying yes or no, because it's not like you're hurting for the business.
Totally.
You know what I mean? You're busy, which is good, but you're also
you want to do the right thing.
But you want to do the right thing, and you also are knowledgeable.
Yeah.
You're not just like, oh, I got a real estate license now. I just got to find that $1 million house to sell because that's going to be my income for the year.
No, we stay on top of top. Danielle's on the zoning board. Like she knows what's happening in Ocean Township. Yeah.
Zoning
Yeah.
sounds invigorating.
Oh yeah.
But we keep our ear to the market, and
Yeah, that's important. Knowing what's going on, knowing what changes might be coming through the pipe, so that you can
how it'll impact a home.
impact that value, so you can work with sellers on that. Maybe having that conversation, like, hey, some changes might be coming up. Maybe don't list your house just yet. Just get some things ready, and when it's time, I'll let you know.
Totally. Like, we
That
know
sort of
what
thing.
neighborhoods are like a hot buy right now and what sellers should stay. And we'll be honest on our appointment based on their goals. Sometimes their goals are not going to retire till next year. So maybe it doesn't make sense for them
It's
to
not a
stay
rush,
right
yeah.
now. Yeah. But we'll go sit down and we'll go over their goal, and we'll make sure we come up with a plan that's fair for everybody, for them, for us,
And I think that's kind of the thing to, that, I mean, at least from my standpoint that I like putting out there, is that there is a plan.
Yes.
There's, sitting down, having the consultation, listening to a professional, and saying, hey, do this, don't do that, and then call me, when that's done, and then taking it from there. Hey, okay, good, we're ready to go. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have, my photographer come by. And I know there's a lot of different things you do. Photographers, virtual tours, drones in the air. I know I see
all the fun stuff.
airplanes coming through, and realistically knowing what might be good for some houses and might not.
Yeah.
Like if some houses show better in pictures. Some houses, the house doesn't look like much, but 2 blocks over is the beach. Maybe need that
Focus on that.
drone photo to come around and say,
Location.
look, that's the house, that's the beach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if I just take pictures of the house, I'm saying, well,
It looks like nothing
it's
special.
it's a house, but
Let's highlight the
that's the sound a drone makes, right? So yeah, that's those are, and that's why you need the professional and the professional opinion to tell you that. You know what I mean? And to be aware, even if you live in an area, you might not know something. Maybe you've lived in an area a long time. You might not know some of the things that are going on a couple blocks over downtown. Maybe you don't go downtown.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't really know what's going on or what's happening. Whereas
Or
you
don't
guys
see the buyers
do.
there,
You guys are the.
Danielle has her foot on the ground. She's showing buyers. She knows what's happening.
Yeah.
And
She's
obviously,
got her boots on.
Yeah.
Boots on the ground.
They're made for
And
selling.
we all talk to each other, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you?
Sometimes.
That's good. It's important to communicate.
Sorry.
We love
Communication is important.
So we help each other out with that.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess we've been blabbing for a while now. Do you have any, remember Jerry Springer used to say, like, your final thoughts or whatever? Remember him?
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone through this. I guess it's kind of like a Jerry Springer type
My
show.
words of wisdom.
No fighting. We haven't,
That's good.
Gary's not here to
Gary,
bring up the past.
yeah. Gary was the closest thing to like a Crazy Ex something or other coming out, but I won't steal away from you, I promise.
Thank you.
But I do think about it. But so Jerry Springer's final thoughts.
I would say consult a professional. Even if you're not sure if you want to sell now or next year or later in the year, call us. Call us. We can talk to you and we can help you figure out,
So what's the best number to get you guys at? 867-530-99?
86. The best number to call
You might get
us
Jenny
at.
then.
732.
Okay, best number to call.
732.
732.
773.
773.
3108.
3108.
If you want the seller's guide, call us.
Yeah, call for the seller's guide or drop by. Where are we here? Bangs Avenue?
519 Bangs Ave.
519 Bangs Ave. It's a beautiful office.
Asbury Park.
If you guys are in the area, I definitely, it's right in this little downtown strip here. I know half the reason I come down here to see these guys besides
Just to have lunches.
enjoying, I like the lunches. If you're into beverages, there's a couple,
There's
little
some good
places to
bars.
get a cocktail
Yeah, may or may not be drunk
or something. It's true.
Some coffee spots.
Not true. Yeah, there's coffee. In the summertime, you got the beach
Oh my gosh,
close
best
by.
part.
They got
Yes.
the Stone Pony. They play the music,
You may or
right?
may not find us at Anchor's Bed.
Yeah, we may or may not play hooky in the summer.
Jeez.
We should cut this.
There's another music spot across the street here, right, or down the street?
House of Independence.
House of Independence.
Yeah.
Sounds
Stone
American.
Pony, yeah.
Stone Pony. So there's a lot going on. So if you're in the area and you just want to meet these people, wave to Ozzy. Ozzy's sometimes out in the street dancing around. Stop by and then do your thing. exciting, and it's been real Facebook, and now we'll just figure out if we know how to. Your watch. I'm gonna pan up.
Ooh.
See that?
Bum.
Oh. Maybe we'll just spin around a little bit.
Thank you.
How's that work? Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh crap! It's just doing it.